Good morning, guys. This is ERGJ coming back to you. I guess it's Brother E today. I just wanted to kind of give you a message that I think is going to be a little bit different, and I think it's going to really help many people. Oftentimes I get asked, what books do I read? How did I, get to the place where I am as far as, this whole financial aspect that I bring, the value that I bring to the marketplace. And I could tell you, to start with one of my famous books, which is The Richest Man in Babylon. I've mentioned that, I recommended that. I could tell you to read Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Many of you guys are familiar with that. I could tell you to read The Millionaire Next Door, which is by Thomas Stanley. Great understanding of how even people that are close to you could be rich. You don't necessarily have to be on TV. I can tell you to read that. I can tell you to read How Rich People Think by Steve Siebold. I can tell you to read The 7 Money Rules of Life by Mary Hunt. I could tell you to read The Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. I can tell you to read that. And another good book that many of you probably could read would be Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover. Like, this is a part of my collection, a part of my library, but the reality is I didn't start there. The most important book that I think you should read is this book right here. It's the Bible. This is what my foundation is. This is where I got my financial base, my financial principles. And I would encourage you to read this, to start here. Let this be your foundation. It says that, if you're going to build a house, you want to build it on a solid foundation. I believe that this is the foundation you should build not only your financial life, but the rest of your life on. And why is that? Because the reality is, for me, when I read all these other books, they're still based off of the principles that are found in this good black book here, the Bible. Now, the Bible tells us that wisdom is the principal thing, and that's what a lot of people are missing. They're looking and asking for money. They're looking and asking for help, but they seldom do they ask for wisdom. And it's wisdom that's going to bring you the solution to your problem. But we're not seeking wisdom, which is intangible. We're seeking something tangible, money, help, assistance, something like that, to help us get through to the next day. And I would encourage you to ask for wisdom. Wisdom is the principal thing. James chapter 1, verse 2 says that if you are deficient in wisdom, let him ask of the giving God to everyone who gives liberally without reproaching or fault finding, and it will be given to you. But it goes on to say this, only it must be in faith that you ask without wavering. For the one who wavers is like billowing a surge at a sea that is blown hither and thither and tossed by the wind. For truly, let not such a person imagine that he will receive anything from the Lord, from which he's asked. So it's very interesting here that, the Bible clearly tells us that we should ask for wisdom if we're deficient in this area. And a lot of people are deficient in the area of finances. And my question is, are you asking God for wisdom? And are you asking in faith, believing that he will bring you to wisdom, which is he'll bring you, he'll direct you to the place that you need to go to get wise counsel. He'll direct you to the books that you need to read. He'll direct you to the people that you need to have conversations with. He'll direct you to the television shows that you should watch. He'll direct you. He will order your steps. But have you asked for wisdom? And have you asked for wisdom in faith, believing that God will do what he said he would do? Now, wisdom is the principal thing. And it says that in all thy getting wisdom, that you should get understanding. Now, here's the reason why I do the retirement review, why I help people to understand their 401k, their TSP, and their IRA. Because most of us are wise enough to know that we should invest. Most of us are wise enough to know that we should do something to start to secure our future, which is our retirement, so that our kids don't have to take care of us when we get older. Most people know, or most people are wise enough to do that. But it says, in all thy wisdom, get understanding. And so while we're wise enough to start to invest in our 401k, to invest in the IRA, to invest in the TSP, we still have not, many of us have not gotten the understanding to understand those vehicles that are going to fuel us, are going to take us to retirement so that our kids don't have to take care of us and that our money could actually take care of us. So that's why I started the retirement review, so that you were wise enough to get started, but now you can get some understanding. You can actually understand what you're doing and understand the wisdom that you started to begin. Now you can begin to understand it. And once you understand it, then you can actually fully utilize it or capitalize from it to make sure that your retirement is secure. Now, the other piece I wanted to talk about today, because you had wisdom is a principal thing. It said that God says that if you're deficient in wisdom, that you should ask for it. And you should ask in faith, believing that you'll receive, and believing that he will direct your path. He will order your steps to where it is that you need to be, the people that you need to speak to, the books that you need to read, the television shows you need to watch, the associations that you need, the people that you need to cut off that are not aiding you towards the direction that you'd like to go. But he also told us that in all thy wisdom, you should get understanding. So you should not only be wise enough to start to invest for your retirement, but you should also be wise enough to get understanding about those vehicles. And I can help you with that. And the last piece I wanted to talk about was I recently posted something about why I believe a lot of people are broke. And I said that the reason why I found this to be the number one reason why I found that people are broke is because of this one word called neglect. And so when I speak and when I come to you, more often than not, I have some biblical principle because the word is in me. It's not just on my shelf. The word is in me. And so I take the word and I put it into common terms for the common man, because most people, for some reason or not, they just won't read the Bible. And you don't necessarily have to be a Christian to read this good book. I encourage anyone to read it because it has sound principles that you could apply to your life. And hopefully just by reading, you'll begin to believe what the word says. But the last piece that I wanted to talk about was neglect. In the good book, if I say neglect, people will say, hey, you're talking bad about me. But the reality is there's a lot of things in this book, in this great book, that will speak to you and will give you this wisdom if you just choose to read it. And so in Proverbs chapter 26, verse 33, it says it like this. It's 24:33, I'm sorry. It says it like this. It says, yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep, so shall your poverty come as a robber, and your want as an armed man. And so in this good book, it talks about neglect. People that would, a little sleep, you'd rather sleep all day than actually do some work. A little slumber, you'd rather just lay around the house all day and do nothing, knowing that there's some things that you should do. You'd rather just procrastinate on those things, neglect. And a little folding of the hands, it means that you know what you should do, but your hands are tied together so you won't put in the work, neglect. And it says that a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands, and so shall your poverty come upon you like a robber. And your want, your need, what you need will come upon you like an armed man. In other words, you won't have what you need and you'll be broke just because you were lazy, you're neglectful, and you procrastinate. Now, I'm not saying that. That's the good book that's saying that. And many of us, my brethren, we believe the good book. And here's what I would encourage you to do. Read the good book more often. Many people will attend church but won't read the Bible. And I can tell you this, that your pastor, your preachers, they can only give you so much. If you only meet one time a week, why not spend some of your time, instead of watching the television, like I said, I think that a lot of people are broke because they watch too much TV, and get in a good book. Why don't you feed yourself with principles? Why don't you look and seek for wisdom so that you can take control of your financial life? You can take control of your life, and you can do it with God's help. Seek his help. He'll tell you where you need to go. Ask for wisdom and ask in faith, and you will receive if you believe. And I believe that if you do that, then the people that you need to be around, the situations that you need in your life, that your whole life would change if you would just get in the good book. Have a great week.